Okay. Let's settle down as the next speaker is about to speak. I first met our next speaker at a World Convention in 1998. He was the second man that I ever spoke to in the USA. I remember it clearly. I heard him share at the World the following year in 1999 in Milwaukee. That night, he told me about angels, he told me about miracles, but more importantly, he also said something that still rings with me today. Shame if you've taken this program and you're not giving it away, helping someone else. And that's always stuck with me, and it's helped me throughout my whole journey ever since. Angels, miracles, helping others. I respect him for being who he is. When I first saw him, I thought he was a gangster, a mobster. You'll see it maybe. Maybe his talking's different these days. I don't know. But what I found out was that he was a soft, gentle, humorous recovery giant. And tonight he is here. It's with honor that I asked Paul Cousins to come up and introduce our evening speaker. Paul Cousins, come on.
My name's Paul, and I'm from Scotland, and I'm an addict. You've just got no idea how grateful I am to be here tonight and introducing Danny and looking at all you fabulous, lovely people with big smiles, eh? Yeah. So, very quickly, I don't want to waste time. I hope I don't waste anybody's time. So I met Danny back in, maybe it was 17 years ago, and I was still out there using, but I did meet him at a convention. I was trying to get my act together, and he did give me his number. And around about 2003, New Year's, that period, New Year's Eve area, I decided that I was going to phone him and ask him if he would be my sponsor. Now, the thing is that, you see, I went to meetings in London, but I was so special and different that I didn't think anybody in the London area could be my sponsor. So I had to reach out to Danny, who was from New York and who was like an American gangster, as Nick said. And I thought, that's the guy for me, you see, because I'm special and different. So I had been using right through Christmas, right through the New Year. And we're now New Year's Day. My wife was done with me, and I phoned him up. And I said to him, you know, will you be my sponsor? And he asked me those famous words. And he said, are you prepared to go to any lengths? And I'd been up for 10 days. I hadn't been to bed. And I went, yeah, like I knew what any lengths meant. But I soon found out, because he said to me, well, then get on a plane and come to Oklahoma City tomorrow. And I went, Oklahoma City? But you live in New York. And I thought, because I know a lot of dealers in New York, I know people in New York, I could party, because this thing wasn't going to work. But no, I got on a plane, I went to Oklahoma City, and took me 27 hours to get there in the middle of winter. Really, it was really bad journey. And I was using all the way over on the plane. I was drinking vodkas all the way over there. And I get off in Oklahoma after going through Chicago. And standing there is a guy in a yellow velour suit that was straight out of The Sopranos. I mean, Nick is underestimating how Sopranos this guy is. This was, you know, if there's a guy in The Sopranos that is the really tough one, you know, the one that nobody wants to mess with, this was Danny. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like 10 days on the go with the booze and with the coke. And I'm thinking, what the hell have I got myself into? And I'm from Glasgow, you know. I'm in Oklahoma City, you know. Anyway, Danny, bless him, took me to a meeting straight from the airport, and then he took me to his house, put me in a room, let me sober up for 24 hours, and passed his message to me. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be here tonight. Danny became my sponsor, has been my sponsor, and is still my sponsor. And I want to tell you, it's with great, great pleasure that I introduce Danny F. from the United States of America.
I'm Danny, I'm a cocaine addict. All right, I want to auction a couple of things real quick before we get started. That's a joke. How many people are in there are brand new in recovery? Are you waving or are you brand new in recovery? Is this your first convention? First convention, all right. Well, good, welcome, welcome. Don't leave before the miracle happens. I'm glad you're here. I want to read something from you, from the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous for you. It's on page 34. You should be able to relate to this. It says, many of us felt that we had plenty of character. There was a tremendous urge to cease forever, yet we found it impossible. This is the baffling feature of alcoholism as we know it. This utter inability to leave it alone, no matter how great the necessity or the wish. If you can't relate to that, you might not be in the right place, but I don't know. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I'm here. I want to thank Nick and the committee for having me here. It was a long journey to get here. A lot of people heard how long it took me to get. Actually, when I left Florida, I didn't have this beard. But just so you know what we do for the new people, what we do in Cocaine Anonymous is I tell you a story about a guy, an addict. He's walking through the woods and he falls into a hole. And he's trying to climb out of the hole. And he keeps falling back down. He's yelling, help. He's screaming, help. And a couple minutes later, there's a man of the cloth walking through the woods and he hears the yelling and he goes, follows the noise. He goes over, he looks down, he sees the guy in the hole. And he says a prayer for him and he leaves. Guy's got a prayer, but he can't get out of the hole, and he's yelling, help, I need help, and he's screaming, and about 10 minutes later, a doctor's walking through the woods, and he hears the noise, and he goes over, and he looks down, he sees the guy, he writes him a prescription, he throws it in the hole. The guy's got a prayer, he's got a prescription, but he can't get out of the hole, and he's yelling, help, help, and about 10, 15 minutes later, there's a recovering member of Cocaine Anonymous walking through the woods. He hears the noise, he goes over, he looks down, immediately he jumps in the hole. And the guy says to him, he says, now look what you did. Now we're both in the hole. And the recovering member of CA says, yeah, I know, but I've been here before. I know the way out. So for those of you that are new, I want you to understand that we'll jump in the hole and show you the way out. But you got to climb and do the work. We ain't going to carry your ass. We do know the way out. So if you're dying and you just can't stand it no more, you're in the right place. Grab a hold of somebody that understands the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous and follow the CA program, and you're going to be okay. Just so we qualify, I want to tell you all those remarks about me. I dressed like that way before The Sopranos ever came on TV. But I want to give you my analogy of cocaine so you know that my sobriety date is November 21st, 1991. And for that, that may not impress you, but it still impresses the hell out of me. I want to tell you that. But to me, cocaine was the love of my life. I traded everything I ever had for another hit of cocaine or another rock. And to me, cocaine was like my analogy is she was like the most beautiful woman. I could be in a nightclub with 1,500 people around me. And there she is on the other end, my lady cocaine, I gotta have her. I make my way through the crowd, through all the obstacles in my life, and I get up to her, and I get lucky. I get to take her out of there, and we jump in a cab. And all the way in the cab ride, I'm thinking about how good the lovemaking is going to be. And we go to her place, and just like I knew, it was the best lovemaking I ever had. And I get up to go to the bathroom. She reaches under the bed and grabs a bat and pow, cracks my head. Takes all my dope and all my money and all my jewelry. And about 20 minutes later, I start coming to, and I stagger to my feet, and I'm dizzy, and I'm hurting, and I'm bleeding. And the first thing I say is, where is she? I got to find her. I know she didn't mean this. I know she loves me. And then I bite a lie one more time, and I tell myself, when I find her this time, it's going to be different. Now, if you could relate to that, some of you might not know if I'm talking about a woman or cocaine, or a man or cocaine. But I'm going to share with you a little show and tell, little picture I found a long time ago, because there were many signs along the way that I had a problem with alcohol and drugs, and I didn't pay any attention to them. And if I would have, my life might have been different. But I found this picture a long time ago, and I share it with people. And it's a picture, I'll hold it up. I don't know how many people can see it. It's a picture of an old lady, and it says, before 6 beers. And all you do is just take the picture and turn it upside down, and it says, after 6 beers, and it becomes a princess. So I don't know, some of you guys may be able to relate that you went to bed with Cindy Crawford and woke up with Lassie. That was a sign that maybe you had a problem with alcohol. Some of the clues that maybe you had a sign with cocaine, you know, if the voices in your head were grinding their teeth, you know, maybe you have a problem with cocaine, I don't know. But Nick talked about things that I always share about when I get to share. 4 things, not in any particular order, but 4 things that I believe in wholeheartedly today. I believe in angels. I truly believe that angels are all around us, always have been and always will be. I truly believe that I'm a miracle, that this room is full of miracles. I truly believe in a God today, and I have a great relationship with a God in my life today. And the 4th thing that I believe in is the reason I'm able to believe in the first 3. I believe in Cocaine Anonymous. If it weren't for Cocaine Anonymous, I wouldn't know what kind of miracle I was. I wouldn't be in touch with the angels, and I wouldn't have any God in my life. And that's my truth today. So let me share with you some of my earliest memories, because I had twisted thinking my whole life. There was something the matter with me my whole life. And I don't come from an alcoholic or addict family. I come from a good, loving Italian family. And I grew up with a lot of love in my life. But there was something the matter with me. My earliest memories was a little kid, maybe 5 or 6 years old. And I'm born and raised in the Bronx in New York. And so I had all the Yankee baseball cards. And I had all of them, the whole team, when I was a little kid, but I didn't have Roger Maris. And there's another kid in my neighborhood that had all the cards, but he didn't have Yogi Berra. And he asked me if I wanted to flip to see for the other card. And I said, sure. And I went home that day and I practiced flipping. You know, I don't know if you know what that is, but take the baseball cards and you flip them. And all I thought about was tomorrow I'll have the entire Yankee team. I was like 6 years old. And I met him in the park that next day, and we flipped, and he won. And something happened to me. I got all choked up, and I right up to here, and I thought, not only am I not going to get Roger Maris, I'm about to lose Yogi Berra. And I couldn't let that happen. I kicked this kid's ass and took all his baseball cards. And from that day to the day I crawled into the rooms of recovery, that's how I lived my life. It didn't matter what I did and who I hurt or what I had to do. If you couldn't get it the right way, just kick some ass and take it. And that's how I lived my life. I come from a neighborhood in the Bronx that's called Little Italy, and we had festivals in our neighborhood. We called them the Feast. And every year we'd have the feast, and we'd close the streets off, and we'd put all the games and food trucks in the streets, and for 10 days, there'd be a big party in my neighborhood. And I was about 6, 7 years old, and I had a quarter, and in those days, for a quarter, you can buy a bunch of candy. And I went down and I bought some cotton candy, and it was good. I liked it. I ate it all up. I bought some more with the quarter. It was good. I liked it. I ate it all up, and I wanted more. So I went up to the apartment, and one of my brothers had these little safes that had a little red dial. And I took a butter knife and cracked the safe open. I'm like 7 years old cracking the safe. And I got in there, I took a $50. I went down to the feast, I got more cotton candy. It was good, I liked it, I wanted more. I ran out of money, I went back upstairs, went to my mother's purse, took $1. Like 7 years old. I went downstairs, and I started getting paranoid. I'm thinking, somebody's gonna say, where are you getting all this money for this cotton candy? Because there's thousands of people in the streets, like they're paying any attention to a little 7-year-old kid, right? But even then, I thought it was all about me. And I could remember going in the alleyway between two buildings and ducking down and eating the cotton candy. And I got so sick that day because I ate so much cotton candy that I was throwing up. And I swore to myself I would never eat cotton candy again. I'm 59 years old, people. I don't eat cotton candy, and I haven't since that day. But you see, it's the tendencies that I'm talking about. It didn't matter that it was my brother's money and my mother's money. All that mattered was I wanted something, and I didn't care what I had to do to get it. And that's how I lived my life. But what happened a few years later, maybe 11 years old, 12 years old, the guys on the corner were the cool guys. And they would be standing on the corner, and they'd be drinking, and I wanted to be with them. And so I took that poison, and I started drinking that poison with them. And I got so sick from drinking that booze that I threw up all over the place, and I swore I would never drink again. But the next weekend, I was out on the corner forcing that poison down it was not like the cotton candy. I didn't have to grow up enjoying Cotton Candies Anonymous. But thank God I grew up enjoying Cocaine Anonymous. When I got here, I want to tell you that I was hopeless, helpless, loveless, clueless, godless. And luckily, very early in my first 60 days, I was sitting in a meeting one day, and I had a thought that I really look back on this thought, and I think this thought is one of the things that saved my life. Because I was sitting in a meeting, and my first year in recovery, I wanted to get high every day. I'd sit in a meeting, and people would smile and nod their heads, and I'd smile and nod my head, and I didn't want you to know that I was dying. And I just kept thinking, when this meeting's over, I'm going to go get loaded. And one day I'm sitting in a meeting, I had a thought, and I thought that I'm better off sitting in a meeting of Cocaine Anonymous thinking about getting high than sitting in the dope house thinking about getting sober. Right? I'm not going to tell you a whole lot of war stories, but I do want to talk to you a little bit about cocaine, because that's what it was that brought me into these rooms. And I thought, I got in a lot of trouble. When I was 10 years old, my dad died. And he was killed in a shootout. And I can remember that night really well. I remember it was late at night, and somebody knocked on the door, and I went in the hallway, and my mom answered the door, and there was a policeman there, and he was there to tell her that my dad was dead. And in about a half an hour, my apartment was full of people. The men were in one corner whispering, the women in the other corner crying. And I walked into the living room. I had 3 brothers. They were all asleep. I walked into the living room. I said to my uncle, I said, what's going on? He said, your daddy's dead. And I never experienced death before, 10 years old. So I said, well, what does that mean? And he said, it means that he's not coming back no more, Danny. And I didn't understand. From 10 years old, I got sober when I was 33 years old. I didn't know that that was the dividing line in my life. That from that moment in my life to when I crawled into the rooms, I had started building walls in me. And I sponsor a lot of people, and I work with a lot of people, and it's a very common trait that we have, that I knew how to shower you with things and be good to you Christmas and birthdays, but I didn't know how to accept love. I didn't know how to handle you loving me. Because after my dad died, my mom would hug me, and she'd say, I love you, Danny, and I'd say, I love you too, Ma, on the outside. But on the inside, I was dying, and I was building this wall. And my grandmother, she didn't speak a lot of English. She'd hug me, and she'd say, Ben aside, Dan. I'd say, Ben aside, honey. On the outside. But on the inside, no, I was shut down. And I'm a fortunate man. I've had women in my life that love me, want to be part of me, and they say, I love you, Dan. I love you too, baby. I just didn't know how to handle that stuff. And I want to tell you that, and working the steps and being a member of Cocaine Anonymous and doing this stuff in my life, that it wasn't but a couple of few years in this program that I was able to understand and accept love from you people and anybody else. That's a result of what this program does for you. It's not just after you take care of the alcohol and drugs, what else is there? Well, there's a whole bag of stuff that's wrong with us. And that was my thing. And today I know how to have a loving relationship with somebody. So, got in a lot of trouble, went to prison, did a lot of things, and by the time I was 19, was married, had 2 kids. Today I have 3 daughters and 4 granddaughters. My oldest granddaughter is 22 years old. My kids are in their 40s. And I have a great relationship with them and always have. But 7 girls. I know God's got a sense of humor, right? So I got a lot of trouble and all kinds of things were happening in my life. But cocaine was the kind of thing that chased everybody. Cocaine is the greatest solvent I've ever seen because it will remove everything from your life. And after many years, I was in prison for years, and my wife would come and see me. And even after I got out of prison, I kept going. And finally, after many years, 20 years or so, my wife said to me, "You're killing yourself and everybody around you, and I can't take no more. I'm out of here." And I thought, something wrong with her. She wants to leave me? Like I was something, right? And that just let me free. And, you know, I got an apartment, and I remember going off the deep end. I remember going off the deep end because I'd get some dope and I'd go up to the apartment with my friend and he'd hit the pipe. And as soon as he'd hit the pipe, he'd say, "Somebody's at the window." And I'd look at him and I'd say, "We're on the 9th floor. What, are they hovering with wings there?" And give me that pipe. And I'd hit the pipe. I'd go, "You're right there at the window." And I could remember one night, I says to myself, "Danny, you're doing too much dope. You got to stop." So I says, "Okay, I'm not going to do no coke tonight." And I called this lady that I had been getting friendly with, and but she was a normie. So I called her. I said, "Would you like to go to dinner?" She said, "Sure." So I got all dressed up in a suit. I jumped in a cab. I picked her up. We went to have dinner. We're in this restaurant. I got some dope in my apartment. And she's talking to me over the dinner table. And as she's talking to me, the dope was calling me, "Danny." And I'm going, huh? And it was raining really hard that night, really bad, I remember. And we rushed through the meal, and we jumped in the cab, went back to my place, and we went upstairs. I said, "Sit down, I'll be right out." And she sat on the couch, and I went into the bathroom, and I had my little dope, and I had my suit on, and I stepped in the shower, and I hit that pipe, and I was in the shower about 20 minutes. With my clothes all fully dressed, sweating like a bastard. And this poor woman, she's just sitting out there. Can you imagine what's on her end, what it looked like? And after about 20 minutes, I come out of the bathroom, and I'm holding my pants because they're making too much noise as I walk. And I tiptoed right by her like she wasn't even there. And when I got to the window, I peeked out the window, and just as I did that, the lightning struck. And I said, "Oh shit, they just took my picture." And she got up and ran out of there. Like, "I gotta go." And when she left, I went to the door and I bolted the door all up, and I went, "Thank God she's gone. She was fucking my head up." Like it was her fault that I was imagining. To her, it was like Dr. Jekyll went in the bedroom, Mr. Hyde came out, you know. And so the insanity of this disease is I can't stop doing it. We've all got our stories. Some of them are funny looking back on it. Some of them are really sick, and some of them are very sad. And we've got them all, don't we? And when I crawled into the rooms of Cocaine Anonymous, see, I tell you, I did so much crawling on the floor and peeping out the windows. I tell people, these aren't lines on my face here. These are Venetian blind marks from years of peeking out the window. And I remember I got a sponsor when I came into the rooms, and I just didn't want to feel anymore. I got to tell you a quick story of what happened, what sent me to recovery, and then we're going to talk about sobriety. But my wife had left me. I was going nuts, and I had friends down in Florida. They said, come on down, we're making money. And so I went to Florida, and I bought this restaurant, and I went up to New York, and I got this family that just moved from Italy, and I got them, and I moved them to Florida, and I told the guy, his name was Luigi. I said, Luigi, run this restaurant for me. All I want is an envelope every week. And I didn't want to be bothered. I just wanted to get high. And I bought a condo on the second floor in this nice little development, and all I was doing was smoking dope until I pass out and getting up and doing it all over again. Then once a week, I'd go and get an envelope from him. And I met this guy at the restaurant, and I got a kilo of cocaine. And I took a big chunk of it off, and I took the rest and I put it in the ceiling. And I went to my apartment. And here's what I want to tell you, what I believe the angels are. Now, hopefully, I'll talk to you about the angels tonight and miracles and God. And I wanted to eat something because I knew I was going to be going for a few days. So I took this dope and I put it in a bag. I put all my paraphernalia in this bag, and I took my pistol. And I was schooled, you never give anybody a pistol because the biggest insult is you get shot with your own pistol. And I put the pistol in the bag too, and I went downstairs to the guy who lived underneath me. I knocked on the door. I said, hold this for me. I'm going to make something to eat, and I'll come and get it. He said, sure, Danny. And I went back upstairs. I started cooking something to eat. And the DEA came over and busted my door down and raided my place, because they were watching that guy that met me at the restaurant. And I didn't have nothing there for them. And they took me downtown. They had raided the restaurant. And I'm sitting in the room, and the agent said to me, we found a kilo of cocaine in your restaurant. And me being the stand-up guy I was, I went, I don't own a restaurant. It wasn't in my name. So he said, well, we know that's your restaurant. I said, listen, if you found something in a restaurant, it ain't mine, because I don't own a restaurant. And after a while, my lawyer came, and a few hours later, I left. But they didn't let Luigi go. And I went back to my apartment, and I couldn't stand it anymore. I didn't want to feel. This was a good, innocent man that had a family, and he was in jail, and it was because of me. And I just didn't want to feel, and I was just smoking up. And on the third day, it started getting dark out, and the crickets started cricketing. They make it a little noise. But I heard that noise for a year. I had been living down there. Only that night, I didn't hear it to be the crickets. I heard it to be the crackling of the police radios, and I knew I was surrounded. And I knew Luigi gave me up. And I made a decision. And I want to tell you, it was a decision. I said, I'm not going to jail. I'm too messed up. And if they come, we're going to hold court here. We're going to be the judge, the jury, and the execution, and somebody's dying with me. And as sure as I'm standing here tonight, that's where I was that night. And for hours, I'd had a pistol in one hand, a pipe in the other hand, didn't know which one to suck on next. And I'd put the pistol down, I'd hit the pipe, I'd put the pipe down, I'd grab the pistol, I'd crawl out to the terrace, and I looked to see where they are. And I crawled back in, and I was hitting the pipe, and then I heard these words. I heard somebody say, okay, Sarge, let's go. And I said, that's it. And I stood up, and I ran out to the terrace, and everything I'm sharing with you happened this quick. And I reached over the terrace with the pistol, and I looked down, and right below me was a guy. He never even seen me. And I hesitated just a second, and as I hesitated, he said it again, come on, Sarge, let's go. He was calling his dog. His dog was named Sarge. And I pulled my arm back in, and my whole body was shaking. And I don't know how I did what I did, but I went back into the apartment, and I picked up that 200-pound phone, and I called my brother in New York, and I said, I'm dying down here. I need some help. I can't tell you what kind of miracle that was. I just shared with you how the angel saved me that night, and I can't tell you what kind of miracle it was that I picked up the phone, because the truth of the matter is, up to that point in my life, I had spent my life being a tough guy, hurting people for a living. And here I am telling somebody I need help. I couldn't do that. I know today that my God was up there and going, okay, this guy's had enough. And so I go to treatment. My brother comes down, he gets me. We fly up to New York. I go to treatment, and I crashed in treatment. And the second day in treatment, I started coming to. And the third day in treatment, I went to my first meeting ever. It was a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. And 2 women came and brought the meeting there. And this one little old lady, if I live to be 100, I'll never forget what she said. She said, I'm sure, I'm positive, there's no doubt in my mind that the 3 most important things I do each day is to make my bed, put the cap on the toothpaste, and hit my knees. And I'm going, what the hell is she talking about? I'm dying over here. She's talking about the toothpaste. I'm out of here. And I wanted to leave. And I went to leave, and I don't know why I didn't leave. I can't tell you why I didn't leave, except to tell you that the angels stopped me. I believe that today. They stopped me because I stayed there. 28 days in treatment. I didn't learn nothing in treatment. I take that back. I learned 2 words in treatment, 2 little 3-letter words, why and try. Because the counselors would say to me, Danny, this is what you got to do. I go, why? They go, if you want to be okay, you have to do this. Can you do this? I go, I'll try. And I don't know about you guys, but I never tried to get high. I got sober. I got a sponsor. My sponsor told me, Danny, you're going to go far in this program. I said, thank you. He said, because you got so far to go. And he'd tell me to do something. I say, I'll try. Read this chapter we're going to talk about tomorrow. I'll try. And finally he says to me, don't try, Danny, do it. Don't try to get sober. Make it happen. And if you hear anything tonight, you new people, hear this. Don't try to get sober. Make it happen. You didn't try to get high. You got high. Don't try to get sober. Get sober. There's plenty of people around you that can save your life. Tap into the power that is Cocaine Anonymous. Tap into the power that is the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Tap into the power of God. Your life will change way beyond your wildest dreams. So I left treatment. I got a sponsor, and I'm not going to tell you how to work the steps. Actually, I might tell you how to work the steps tomorrow in the workshop, but not tonight. It's not my business tonight. But I want to share with you a couple things that happened to me in the steps in my early recovery. And the first step, I like to call the first step was like my Houdini analogy. What I mean by that is I was like Houdini before I got sober. You could put me in a straitjacket, handcuff me, wrap some chains around me, padlock it, fold me over, put me in a box, wrap some chains around the box, padlock it, kick it off into the ocean, and watch me get a hit. I'll get out of all that shit and I'll be at the dope house before it hits bottom. Because that's how I was when it came to getting some dope. And I get sober and I start talking about, I'll try. And the second step, I'm not stupid. What does it say in the second step? It says something about a higher power, right? I'm not stupid. I know you were talking about God. I didn't want nothing to do with God. My dad was God. He died when I was 10. I spent the rest of those years till I crawled in the rooms replacing him, trying to be God. I didn't come here for God. So I didn't like that. A guy pulled me aside one meeting because after a meeting, I said, I'm not here for God. And the guy pulled me aside after the meeting and he said to me, Danny, at that time I had 2 daughters. He said, you got a couple of kids, right? I says, yeah. He says, if your oldest daughter became a prostitute, would you hate her? I said, no, I wouldn't hate my daughter. He said, if your other daughter became a junkie, was hitting old ladies upside the head, taking their pocketbook, would you hate her? I said, no, of course not. I wouldn't hate her. He said, oh, you believe there's a God? I said, sure, there's a God. I'm also a recovering Roman Catholic, so. I said, sure, there's a God. And he said, well, let me see if I got this right. You're telling me that you have the capacity to love your children regardless of what they do, and you know there's a God, but you don't think God can love you in spite of yourself. It's pretty big of you, Danny. And for the first time in my life, I had to take a look at this thing that I called God. And I realized that day, early in my recovery, that God loves me just as I am. I could be robbing a bank. My God loves me. I could be cracking somebody over the head. My God loves me. I could be working with another alcoholic or another addict and trying to help them get sober. And my God loves me, not any more or any less. My God loves me. And if I find that to be my truth, then the only question then is, how do I love my God back? And that's all about what I do, not what I say and what I pray. It's what I do. And then in the third step, there was something happened in the third step. People kept talking, there's this saying that goes around, let go and let God, give it to God. You heard all that stuff before, right? So I had this huge problem, big problem. And I went to my sponsor. I don't remember what the problem was anymore, but I just remember it was big. And I went to my sponsor and I shared this huge problem with him. He said, what are you going to do about that, Danny? I'm going to give it to God. He went, okay. About 10 days or so, 2 weeks go by, and I go to my sponsor, what's going on? I gave this to God 2 weeks ago. I still got this shit. What's going on? And he looked at me and he went, Danny, God don't want that shit either. It ain't God's job to work the steps for you. It's your job. I said, well, let go and let God. Give it to God. You got to do the work. You got to do the work. Oh, I'll try. You know, I got to tell you, anytime, what I read for you to start, right? Many of us thought we had plenty of character. There was a tremendous urge to cease forever, but yet we found it impossible. No matter the necessity or the wish. No, I got to tell you, I'd be getting high for 3 days and I'd run out of money and I'd wait until about 1 in the morning where everybody would be sleeping in my house, and then I'd tiptoe into the house and I don't want to wake nobody up, and I wouldn't even take my clothes off because I don't want to wake the wife up, and I just get in bed real gentle and I take a deep breath because I don't want to breathe too hard. And I'd lay there and I'd think of some stupid stuff like, you know, tomorrow when I wake up, all that money I spent is going to be under my pillow. And my wife's going to say, honey, you're home. I've missed you. And the kids are going to jump in my lap. Daddy, Daddy, we love you. And I'd lay there for I don't know how long until I just fall out. And I'd come to the next day and I'd look under the pillow, there'd be no money there. And I'd hear my wife in the kitchen. I'd get up and I'd go in the kitchen and she'd look at me and she'd say, you son of a bitch, you did it again. And I had been out for days and my cheeks were sunken in and my eyes were sockets and I needed a shave and I smelled. And my kids would hear my voice and they'd run into the kitchen, Daddy, and they'd look at me and they'd run back in their room because I looked like death warmed over. And I'd go to the bathroom and I'd look at myself in the mirror and I'd say, what's the matter with you, Danny? Why can't you stop this shit? And I'd look at myself in my eyes and I'd say, I swear to God, I'm never going to do this again. And just as sure as I'm standing here tonight, I meant it with every fiber of my being. I'm never going to do this again. And I'd brush my teeth and I'd shave and I'd shower and I'd grab something out of the kitchen and I'd start going out. My wife would say, don't go out. I said, I got to get money. Leave me alone. I'll be back. I'll be okay. And 3 days later, I'd be crawling back into the house again. And that vicious cycle never ended. Many of us thought we had plenty of character. There was a tremendous urge to cease forever. Yet we found it impossible, no matter how great the necessity or the wish. I understand those words. They're stuck in me. 25 years later, I still understand those words. I don't want to ever lose that feeling of how I felt every time I came off of cocaine. Because how I felt every time I came off of cocaine was the most horrible feeling I've ever had in my life. And I've lost loved ones in sobriety, and I've done things in sobriety that are really bad, terrible, tragic things. Nothing has come close to feeling like I felt every time I came down off of cocaine. Thank you, because I have found a loving and powerful God that has taken my hand. And I want to tell you, in Cocaine Anonymous, look where I'm at. Where am I? Holland. Hello, Holland. I'm in Holland. I got friends here. My friend Karen, I haven't seen in so long. I got a lot of friends here. I got new friends I've never met yet. I couldn't get out of the Bronx. I've been all over the world. I've fellowship with you people. My friend Jim is here. Dave and Rich and AD and Paul and all these people, just unbelievable. A dope fiend like me, Mike. People that maybe I don't see for a year or two. But you people are my friends. I'm fortunate enough to say that because of Cocaine Anonymous and God. And if you heard my story of how I got here yesterday or today, whenever the hell I got here today, that was God working that got me here, people. So when I left treatment, I hit recovery hard. I got with a group that was into the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. We tore this book apart. I learned how to put this in my life. I learned what the book really says, and it has changed my life. And I've been able to do all kinds of miraculous things. And I want to tell you, when I was 2 years sober, 18 months sober, I moved to Oklahoma City to do a real estate deal with a friend of mine. And I was supposed to be there 2 weeks. I was there 17 years. Tell me God's not in charge, right? And my 2-year birthday, I flew back to New York and I wanted to celebrate with my home group in New York. And what happened was, we had a birthday cake 2 years at my home group in New York. They gave me the medallion, I had it in my pocket. And the next day I took my kids shopping. And if you're familiar with New York City, the sidewalks are big and there's stores all over. And my kids are running in and out of the stores and I'm standing on the sidewalk and all of a sudden I was washed with a desire to get loaded. Nothing like I had felt in the 2 years I've been sober. I had the 2-year medallion in my pocket and I thought, oh man, I'm gonna get loaded. And I counted my money. I said, when the kids come out of the store, I'm gonna tell them I gotta go and take them home and I'm going to get some. And then I looked up, because I remember in the book it said that there's gonna come a point in all our sobriety that we're gonna be hit with a desire that nobody can do nothing with, but God can. So I looked up and I said, God, please help me, because I really don't wanna get high as much as I wanna get high. And as soon as I said that, I was about 4 stores up the block. I looked to the corner, and there was a guy who had this stand set up, and he had these little wooden plaques, and they were all pictures of an animal shellacked and all of this whole design. But right in the middle of them was one that was writing, and my eyes were caught on it, and I was like hypnotized to it, and I was drawn to it, and I walked up to it. And anytime I get a chance to share, I want to read this for you because it saved my life. I got up to this thing, and in big print, it said the letter. Dear friend, how are you? I just had to send a note to tell you how much I care about you. I saw you yesterday as you were talking with your friends. I waited all day hoping you would want to talk with me too. I gave you a sunset to close your day and a cool breeze to rest you, and I waited. You never came. It hurt me, but I still love you because I am your friend. I saw you sleeping last night and longed to touch your brow, so I spilled moonlight upon your face. Again, I waited, wanting to rush down so we could talk. I have so many gifts for you. You awoke and rushed off to work. My tears were in the rain. If you would only listen to me, I love you. I tried to tell you in blue skies and in the quiet green grass. I whispered in leaves on trees and breathed in colors of flowers, shouted to you in mountain streams and give the birds love songs to sing. I clothe you with warm sunshine and perfume the air with nature's scents. My love for you is deeper than the ocean and bigger than the biggest need in your heart. Ask me. Talk with me. Please don't forget me. I have so much to share with you. I won't hassle you any further. It is your decision. I have chosen you and I will wait. I love you, your friend, Jesus. There's many of you sitting here that have been in my home. Doesn't matter where my home is, what state it is. Ever since that day, 2 years sober, I bought that plaque. The kids came out of the store. They said, "What's that, Dad?" I said, "Oh, just something I needed today." See, God did for me what I couldn't do for myself, because this dope fiend was getting high. And you people that have been to my house, you know that plaque hangs right next to my front door. That was almost 24 years ago. It still hangs next to my front door. That plaque saved my life. I got out of New York that next day. I went back to Oklahoma City, and 1 month later, I was indicted by the federal government, Southern District of New York, for wreckage of my past, and I had to fly back to New York and surrender myself to the feds. And my lawyer was trying to say, listen, you know, we got to wait, this and that. The judge that had my case died, and they appointed a brand new federal judge. If you're not familiar with laws in America, a federal judge is a judge forever. And this was his first case. And my lawyer said, we got to postpone because he's going to nail you. I said, no, we're not going to postpone. Because I was going back and forth. You know, I know how to do time, but not do time sober. I could do time, but I can't do time with 12 steps. You know, and I'm going back and forth. And I was in an AA meeting, and no, I was in a CA meeting, and the guy said to me, Danny, don't worry about it, because no matter what happens, no matter what the judge wants to do to you, God is going to step in and touch him, and you're going to be fine, because all the people you help. And I said, oh, thanks, cool. Then some drunk in an AA meeting said to me, maybe God wants you to carry the message behind the wall in prison. I said, leave it to the drunks to screw shit up, right? So I had to get a pre-sentence report done by a probation officer to determine what he would recommend to the judge. The guy that did my pre-sentence report, just like the lady at the airport yesterday, was a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. And he gave me a recommendation of 7 years in prison. It was a 10-year charge, so he gave me a lesser than what the charge would have done. And then people knew what I was going through. They wrote letters to the judge. They faxed this before, like, the big computer age. So they faxed stuff to the judge. They called the judge up. And in February that next year, against my lawyer's wishes, I went and stood in front of the judge. And when he told me to stand up, he says, you have anything to say for yourself? And I said, yeah, Your Honor. I said, that paper you have there, that's me. I did that. But the person in front of you is somebody different. And that's all I could say to him. And he held up a stack of papers like this. He said, I got all these letters about you. I read every one of them. They're very impressive. But I got somebody like you in my courtroom. 7 years is a joke. You're not going to get anything like 7 years from me. And I knew he was about to whack me with some heavy time. And then the angels came. I saw the angels come. They touched this man. Because just as he was about to sentence me, he went, and I don't know why I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And he gave me a 5-year suspended sentence and a fine, a large fine. Humongous fine, but it's a really huge fine. But I was free, and I went, yeah. My lawyer went, yeah. And the judge like snapped out of it, like, what the hell did I just do? He said, lock that guy up till he pays some money. And I want to tell you something. I got 2 years in reform school before I was 16 years old. I got 6.5 years in prison. When I flew to New York and surrendered myself to the feds, and they had me in a jail cell, a holding cell, waiting for my lawyer to make bail for me, a matter of hours. When I was in that cell, I knew I had changed. Because all my life, you could put me in a cell, just give me something to read, I'm fine. But while I was waiting for bail to be arranged, I felt like I didn't belong in that cell anymore. I was different. In 2 years, you people made me different. You changed my very character. The big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and God will change your very character. And I got out of that jam there. And now, don't get me wrong, because people have come up to me after I said, you may have a problem and you're going in front of a judge. I'm not telling you that the judge is going to let you go because you're in CA or AA. I don't know. Maybe God wants you to do time behind the wall in prison. I don't know. I can only tell you he didn't want me to do time behind the wall. And he let me go. I don't know about you. I want to tell you one thing for the people that maybe get a little bit of time, a year or 2 or 3 years, you know, and you start getting comfortable in recovery and start building and working on don't lose focus of what we're here for. I tell you a story about the workaholic. I don't know if you ever heard this one, but the workaholic, he pulls home one day, he pulls in his driveway, he gets out of his car with his attaché case, and his little son comes running up to him. He says, Dad, can we play? And the guy says, I'm busy now. Go inside and play. And the kid's pulling on his pants. But Dad, yesterday you told me we could play today. And they walk into the house, and in the vestibule, in the hallway of the house, there's a little table, and on the table is a magazine, and it's open to a page that has a map of the world. And the guy takes the page and he rips it out. He rips it in 100 little pieces. He gives it to the kid. He says, go upstairs and put this together and we'll play. 5 minutes later, the kid comes back down. He says, Dad, look, I got it all together. Can we play now? And he finally gets the guy's attention. The guy says, wow, how'd you do that? How'd you put that together so quick? And the kid said, it was easy, Dad. On the other side of the map of the world, there was a picture of a man. I put the man together and the whole world fell into place. I want to tell you, if you're sitting here tonight feeling like Humpty Dumpty, that your life is in pieces, I want to tell you that all the king's horses and all the king's men can't put your sick ass back together again. But we can. We have a way out that really works. We take broken men and broken women and we make them whole again. That's what we do here in Cocaine Anonymous. That's what we do here in Cocaine Anonymous, people. Don't miss it. Don't leave right before the miracle happens for you. And when the miracle happens for you, remember what Nick said tonight that I said years and years ago. Shame on you if you're in this program and you're doing well and you're not carrying it to somebody else. Because it ain't about you and you know all that you're all that in a bag of chips. I know why I'm sober today. I'm sober because I have the ability to help somebody else. Every one of you people, every last one of you are necessary. You might find this hard to believe. Not everybody wants to hear what I have to say. I know, it's hard to believe, but not everybody wants to hear what there's somebody that don't give a shit what I've got to say. Only what you have to say is going to help that person. And shame on you if you ain't here suited up to say what you have to say when you're supposed to say it. Because you ain't all that either. And I got to tell you this. About 10 years ago, I had cancer, and the doctor gave me 6 months to live. And I want to tell you, I didn't take any chemo. I didn't do anything. 2 years I was getting blood tests every 6 months, colonoscopy, bone marrow testing every 6 months. It never spread. Not only did it never spread, I woke up from a colonoscopy one day, and the doctor was a friend of mine, said, when did you have chemo? I said, I didn't have chemo. Why? He says, your cancer's gone. It's just a drop left. Went away. God did for me what I couldn't or nobody could do. These are miracles that have happened in my life over and over and over again. I don't have enough time to share with you tonight all the miracles that have happened in my life. So I'll tell you this and I'll shut up. I'm positive. There's no doubt in my mind the three most important things that I do each day when I wake up is to make my bed, put the cap on the toothpaste, and hit my knees. Thank you for letting me share it.
Let's not go quiet. Let's give him another round of applause. That was awesome. Thank you, Danny. We won't take much longer of your time. I'm going to invite David and Richard to do our clean time countdown. Down. Yeah? Oh, yeah, no, it could be more 40. I don't know anything about it. I'm sure they're going to tell you. Yeah?
Okay, dog.
Yeah?
Woo! What, you do the other one without the evenings. I'll play the evenings. What, 2 in it? Yeah, I'll play each and then you'll say mine, I'll say you.
Oh, yeah, got it.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Dave and I'm an addict. And I'm grateful to be here today. We're just having a little chat about doing a countdown with a difference. Now, for those of you that live here, we find it strange that when we go to the sauna, we have to take all our clothes off. So we're thinking maybe we should have a countdown with all our clothes off. Anybody up for that? Yeah, go on, get it off. We're going to start with 40 years. Anybody got 40 years out there? 40? No. Anybody got 39? 38?
37,
36?
35,
34?
33,
32?
31,
3 old blind 30. Woo! Go on, Mike D in the out. Woo!
how about 29?
$28.
27,
26.
I'll say something. Mike, Esther, come to the front, please. And the guy who just stood up also, come to the front. As you stand up, please come to the front and stand in a row and hug each other and congratulate.
Oh, look, 25. 25.
$25? Is that Danny?
Who's that?
Danny.
Who's that? $24. You're going to have to go down there.
My best man, 23.
You ready for this? 22 years. Is that you? You? Oh, you're 22? Yeah. 21. All right. Right. For me to do 21.
Yeah, got it.
21 years! You done it! Woo, 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 woo.
20. Anybody 20 years?
19. Yes! Woo! Oh, next time.
Yeah. 18. 18 years?
17 years. Woo! Woo! Woo!
And I've got a friend of mine who's come over from England with me. He's 16 this week.
So bad. 16! 16, is it there?
Happy birthday, Steve.
When's he going to stop all this coming up here? I don't know. All right. 15.
How about 14?
You do 30.
13?
Go on, son.
Hello, Karen. How about 12?
12 really, 12 really out over there. Anyone got 11 years? Yes, Daisy. Get in the house. Oh, no. 12 years and miserable as fuck.
11.
No, 12.
12. 11 years.
Anyone got 10 years? Woo! Woo! Woo!
9 years. Anybody 9 years?
Woo! Woo! Woo!
Go around, isn't it? Go around.
Yeah, all over the way, isn't it? Yeah.
9 years, huh? Who's done that? You, not me.
You can land it, you?
Yeah.
Anyone got 8 years? 8 years in the house over there, little freak. Over there.
I'm being surrounded. Well done, Peter. Anybody here 7 years?
Oh, you got 7 in the house.
Yeah. Being surrounded.
Fucking, gonna be here all night.
Yeah, that's right.
You tell him to put the breakfast on. Was that 7, yeah? Well, it's go down a bit, it's still clapping, yeah? Woo! Anyone got 6 years in the house? Yes! Let's have it! Woo!
Keep moving round. 5. Anybody here? 5 years.
We let the queue die down. I'll go for 4. Anyone in the house got 4 years? Yes! Stop it! Woo! Oh, that one did 4, didn't I?
No, 3. Have we got anyone with 3 years?
Yes! Now it's going to get full now, isn't it?
What about this way as well?
What you're doing is they're looking all the time.
Yeah,
Good. Good. Yeah.
that's right. Just keep walking around. Keep moving around. That's it. Go the other way. Other way.
Keep moving.
You're being surrounded. 2, yeah? Keep moving around. Keep moving around. How about 2 years? We got 2 years?
Yes!
How about 18 months? Come on. You count down. 18, 18.
Now let's go
17.
1 year.
Yeah.
11, 10.
Yeah.
When we get to 30 days, 29.
Yeah. We'll surround them. Surround them.
Yeah.
1 year,
We're
yeah?
not getting anywhere.
1 year. 1 year. Come on, keep coming round. Get round. 11 months. Yeah.
It's the biggest I've ever seen it, Rick. Wow. I've never seen it so big. It's huge, man.
Get round.
Right. 11 months. 11 months.
Yeah!
10 months. 10 months.
Then we can
Keep
go.
moving round. Keep moving round. 10 months.
Keep moving now. Come on, Alex.
Round the back. Round the sides.
Eight months.
No, was it? No, we ain't done 10.
Okay.
9. 9 months. We got 9 months. Oh,
When we get down, we wait one second, then we wait till we start round. Anyone in the house got 7 months? 7 months.
and 8.
Way the back there, get in there. 6 months.
6 months. 6 months. 5 months.
5 months in the house. Anyone got 4 months? 4 months, David!
$90 days. 90 days. Go on.
Yes!
Come on. 60 days.
Shoot that. Anyone in the house got 60 days in the house? Yes, over there, David!
One month, 30 days. 30 days, 1 month. Come on. Keep coming back. Keep coming back.
Keep coming back.
Keep coming back. Keep coming back. Keep coming back. Keep coming back.
What are we, 29?
29. 29 days.
Yeah, David! 28 days.
27.
26.
25.
24. Yeah!
Keep coming back.
Keep coming back.
Keep coming back. Keep coming back. Keep coming back. 22.
Anyone? 21.
3 weeks. 20.
Yes! Anyone got 19?
18 days.
17.
16. Go on.
17, yes!
16. 16 days.
Anyone got 15 days?
2 weeks. 14. Go on.
Yes! Anyone got 13 days?
12.
11.
10.
Yes! Who's that, 10?
9 days.
Hey!
Keep coming back.
Keep coming back. Keep coming back. Keep coming back.
8 days.
Anyone got 7 days, 1 week?
1 week. 6 days. Go on, son.
Hey, over there, David!
6 days.
Keep coming back. Keep coming back. Keep coming back. Keep coming.
How about 5 days? Anyone 5 days?
Anyone, the hardest one of all for me, 4 days.
How about 3 days? Convention now.
2 days. Keep coming back. Keep coming back. Keep coming back. Keep coming back.
How about 1 day, 24 hours?
Yeah! Most important.
Yeah.
Writing down.
24 hours, isn't it?
No, today, it's 1 day, isn't it? Just done 1 day.
Yeah. And most important, you know, I hope we've all, you know, every one of us here has shown you about getting out of the hole. You know, 1 day. One day.
Yeah.
There we go. 1 day.
Anyone got a desire?
Any desire?
Anyone still using, wants to stop, wants to throw the towel in?
Been inspired by us? Anyone?
Let's give ourselves a round of applause anyway, because we love it!
What's was it 2 days? Who was 2 days? Who was 2 days? 1 day? 1 day, yeah?
One day. The other one who was before that.
So what's always been a tradition? What's been a tradition in the fellowship is the person with who's been around the longest, which is Mike, we're gonna give a book to what's her name? And a coin. To wasn't it Leanne? Mariana. You want to say anything, Mike?
We want to give you, Mariana. It's okay, babe. We got you.
Thanks.
We got you. We're in the hole with you.
Yeah,
This book and somebody in this room is going to show you how to get out.
yeah.
All you need to do is ask.
That's
Let her
it.
know we're willing to help her out.
Yeah!
Let her know we're willing to help her out. Let her know.
Keep coming back. 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 Keep coming back.
Tell them who you are.
Yeah. Okay. Now, my name is Mariana. I'm a real addict. Yeah. And what I learned this weekend is when I connect to you all people, the addiction is not stronger than connecting.
Yeah.
Thanks.
God bless you. God bless you.
Look after her, Holland, yeah?
God bless you.
Beautiful.
Are we going to close the meeting? Yeah?
Yeah.
You two close it. Do you know how to close it?
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Just read that. Close it.
Oh, we're all standing.
What an awesome evening. After we close with the Serenity Prayer, the party will continue. The party of your life. Get it.
That's right. Now we're all in a circle. Please hold hands. Join us. Join.
Can I do something right quick?
Yeah.
Form a circle.
Hello, 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 hello. One moment. One moment. One moment. One moment. One moment. I need 3 women to grab this young lady after we pray and talk with her. 3 women. Can I get 3 women? 3 hands. All righty. 3 women. All righty.
Everyone holding hands, everyone connected in the circle, please. And when you're ready, Danny Falcone, can you please close the meeting in the usual way? Where is he? All right. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Amen. So if you work it,
Make some noise up in this mother jumper. Make some noise. That's woo.
let's stay and party.
We're going biggie on down, mate.
You're gonna do a karaoke song now, because you've got no ego, right?
I've seen Mike on the dance floor. I'll never see you on the dance floor, man.
You ain't gonna see me either.
Do you remember in Palm Springs?
You want me to fall and bust
Hey.
my ass?
Do you remember in Palm Springs when we used to get out there and do it, all that? You can do it here now, innit?
I might do a karaoke song.
We
They
won
got
last
karaoke
karaoke
tonight?
with
I
last
think
night.
they might have, it was last night, but I don't know if they got it tonight as well.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Otherwise, you're dancing, man.
No, I'm not dancing there. My
One
hip is
song,
like,
one song,
my
man.
hip
One
is
song,
like
man.
crazy. I gotta tell Helen this shit. How great is God?
That's awesome, bro. I know that feeling. It's beautiful. Who would have ever, who knew that?